class, this is Miss H. At this point, you should have watched the introduction video. Next, we're going to go ahead and start on the notes. So our first question is, what is symbiosis? And just to remind you guys, so last time it was a little confusing about how to edit the notes. This time, I don't want you guys to worry about editing anything crazy. I just want you to take all these notes by hand, and then you're going to just take a picture with either your phone or Chromebook while your paper is laid flat against a surface. So flat against a table is ideal. You can take a picture with your Chromebook or with your phone and upload that into your biology notebook, and then you can turn in your biology notebook into this assignment. So, to begin our notes, what is symbiosis? Symbiosis is where two or more species live closely together. What relationships are there in a community? So this is going to answer that. These are the relationships in a community: mutualism, commensalism, predation, parasitism, and competition. So what are the 5 main types of symbiosis? So these are also the 5 main types of symbiosis. So last week we learned about community, organizations, biomes, biospheres. Now we're just zooming in on communities. And the first relationship that we're going to talk about is between this bee and these flowers. So this is mutualism because the bee gets nectar from the flower, and while it's doing that, it actually gets some pollen on itself, and while it's flying around, this pollen is transferred to other flowers and allows the flowers to reproduce. So in this relationship, I'm going to draw 2 smiley faces because both species are happy. So mutualism is when 2 species benefit from their interactions. Alright, the next one that we have is commensalism. So here we have a cow, and then we have some birds that like to stick around the cow and to eat their flies, things like that. So the cows don't really pay much attention to the birds. They're not really affected too much by the birds. So I'm just going to give them a little straight face. They're not really bothered. They're not happy, but they're not upset. They're just kind of straight faced. They're like, what's happening happens. But the birds, they are very happy because they're getting lots of food from all the bugs that like to swarm around the cow. So commensalism is where one species benefits and the other is unaffected. The next thing that we have, the next relationship, is predation. So here we have a bear, and he just caught a fish, and it's in his mouth. So in this one, we actually have 2 very special characters. We have a predator, and we have prey. So the predator is happy, and then the prey is the fish. So the predator is the bear. He's probably pretty happy with himself. The prey is the fish. The fish is not going to be very happy. So to write this up here, so one species called the predator benefits while the other species called the prey suffers. Alright, the next relationship we have is this mosquito, and he is biting a human. So this is parasitism. So we're going to write parasite, and then we're going to write host. That should be an I right there. Alright, so the parasite is going to be very happy, and the host in this case us, we're not going to be very happy. So this relationship is one where one species called the parasite steals nutrients from another species called the host. Alright. Our last relationship is competition. This is where two species compete for limited resources. And if two species are competing for limited resources, then realistically, you guys, no one's winning. Even if one species beats the other in this competition, both of them are still going to suffer losses. For example, if this hyena bites this lion, then that lion now has a cut. So he's still come out disadvantaged. So before he was a healthy lion with no cuts. After the hyena fights him, even if he wins, then he's now going to be an injured lion. And same thing with vice versa. If this lion fights this hyena and the hyenas may be in a pack and somehow it wins, he's still probably not going to come out unscathed. So competition is bad for both species. Now that we have those notes, we're going to write our summary. I've given you guys sentence stems. I want you, to the best of your ability, to, I wrote it with a Y there too, that is the letter I. I want you guys to fill out the summary to the best of your ability. Don't forget those sentence stems that I showed you earlier.